with a visit with a friend of the program, a gentleman I've gotten to know over the past few years. He's just a great guy, good family man, good conservative, good Republican. He's a war hero, received the Bronze Star for his bravery, and someone who I think would be a great addition to the Republican Parish Executive Committee. Bobbie Ragsdale III joining us here on the Ringside Hotline to give us a little bit about why he's running in this race that he's in. And Bobbie, welcome aboard, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, I thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. So, Bobbie, why are you getting into the rough and tumble world of politics, my friend?
You know, I just want to serve my community. It's what I've always wanted to do. I went to West Point when I was 18 years old with a desire really to just serve the country, and eventually the goal was always to come back to Louisiana. I thought I would do it right away after my initial obligation was over, but I ended up falling in love with the Army a little bit. I did 15 years on active duty, and then when I came off active duty just last year, I decided to come home and just find a way to get involved. And there was nothing really electoral or in government that made sense, so I just threw myself into the community, got on a bunch of boards, and tried to get involved in whatever way I could, volunteering. And when this opportunity came up, some people called me and told me about it and suggested that it would be a good thing for me to be a part of. So, you know, it makes sense for me. This is the thing right now that I can do, and I want to do it. I just want to be involved. We need good, responsible, honorable leadership in our government and in our party leadership as well, because the party steers a lot of what happens, and it helps through the endorsement mechanism ensure that good candidates, good officials find their way into office. Not just good in terms of honor, but good in terms of representing the values and the ideological principles that embody the Republican Party. And I've been a Republican my whole life and a traditional conservative, and I just want to see more good government, good leaders who represent what we believe.
Yeah, and I think this position you're running for is important because it sort of shapes the whole direction of the Republican Party, because this committee can play a big role in the type of Republican that gets elected, and that really is powerful. And of course, all these candidates will come before you asking for endorsements. And what kind of things are you going to be looking for, Bobbie, if you're on this RPEC? What are you going to be looking for from the candidates that come before you for endorsement?
Well, the first thing and the easiest thing is looking at their past. An old mentor of mine, a Special Forces colonel I worked with in Afghanistan, used to tell me all the time, the best indicator of future performance is previous performance, and the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. So if someone has been doing the right thing, working hard, representing conservative values consistently over the past, they're likely to continue doing that in the future, which isn't to say that people can't grow, reform, change, or whatever, but all things being equal, you want somebody who's got a good track record of not just success, but conservative success. Beyond that, you know, we have to look at specific issues, and we try not to get tied up in the idea that you have to believe everything to believe anything, because a parish councilman doesn't need to be concerned with foreign policy in Syria, but I do want to know that at the level that the official is going to govern, are they going to represent the things that we want? You know, getting government out of our lives, stopping the government from harassing people just trying to live and do their own business or live in their own homes. Are you going to protect my rights to keep guns? Are you going to protect my family? Are you going to represent good schools, teaching good values in those schools? You know, it varies by the office, but in general, are you going to be a good Republican and a good American?
And of course, that'll be powerful because you know, these endorsements mean a lot in these elected positions. Now, let's talk about your district. So you're running in District 4. Tell our listeners about that area, please.
That's right. It's most of Kenner. Part of Kenner is in District 3, but most of Kenner, sort of northwest Kenner, is in District 4, as well as a lot of northwest Metairie, down to Lafreniere Park, down to Airline Highway, and up to the lake. So it kind of wraps around the airport from about 9 o'clock to about 6 o'clock. And So yeah, mostly Kenner, a little bit of unincorporated Jefferson, Metro Jefferson Parish. Broadly conservative district, and it's a great area. It's a community with a lot of industry that is outside of the New Orleans area. You know, a lot of Metairie is people who go live in Metairie and work in New Orleans, but this community has a lot of people who live and work here. Kenner draws a lot of people, as well as people who work in Harahan in that area. So it's a great area to raise my family. I bought a house out here immediately when I came off active duty, and I'm honestly not from this area. I grew up in Jefferson Parish, but in Tarrytown on the West Bank, so
right.
I haven't lived here a long time. But it was what made sense to me, and I really like the area, and I'm getting to know the community more and more over these last few years. I'm heavily involved with the NOLA Gold rugby team, which is down on Airline Highway, just outside the district. In fact, I'll put a plug for that real quick. I chair the NOLA Gold Rugby Foundation, which is the nonprofit arm of the team, and it focuses on youth sports education, and providing.
When did they get back into action?
It's up in the air. So the whole league suspended their season when everything kicked off. We were in the middle of the season, unfortunately. I don't know that we haven't scheduled for when it's going to come back, and it's an ongoing conversation. As far as our side on the foundation side, when the team dries up and there's no people going to games, it becomes harder for us to raise money. And I don't know what athletics are even going to be allowed in the fall semester, but we're all everyone's in a hold pattern right now, right? So we had a bunch of ideas planned, a bunch of programs planned, and they're all standing by until we know more.
Bobbie Ragsdale III is with us, a candidate for Republican Parish Executive Committee in District 4, which is the Kenner area, running against a lot of people. I'm looking at who you're running against, and no offense to any of these other folks, but a lot of these are politicians that have been around for a long time. Some are currently elected officials. I don't think these positions should be for elected officials, former elected officials. I think these should be for grassroots party leaders, fresh faces, people that are going to bring new ideas and vision for the Republican Party, as opposed to folks that have been around forever and have already served in elective office. And that makes it tough when you're running against some people, Bobbie, that have a lot of name recognition and have already been either in office or formerly in office.
That's true, and I've heard other people express that opinion as well, including some senior elected officials in the parish. And I don't have an opinion about it. I think everyone is entitled to run. If you're legally allowed to qualify, I think you're legally allowed to run. And I don't have an opinion about whether or not those people are stepping outside of their lane. But you're right, it does create some challenges because in Jefferson Parish, there are 5 seats for every district. On my ballot, there are 9 names. So you got to be top 5 out of 9, which sounds, not insurmountable. But when 3 or 4 of those names are
elected officials,
right. It becomes real hard to break in to that arena, which, to your point, it keeps the circle close. It keeps the net tight and prevents new thoughts and new ideas from breaking in.
Right.
So, we did some mailers. We've got some campaigns going on, but it's really, I think, a battle for, 1 or 2 seats that not everybody knows the name of the person,
Right. Well, you're exactly right. And this is a way for you to get known, other things you've done. I know you've done the mailers and the flyers and that kind of thing help. And I certainly think a lot of people have met you at different events over the past few years and know your background and know your service. I know that if you would be elected, you would serve admirably and really bring a lot of great credentials to this position. So I certainly can't recommend you.
I was endorsed by the Greater New Orleans Republicans, which is really nice. They called me last week to let me know they were endorsing me, and they're sending out a mailer, which should be in all of your mailboxes probably today, if it's not already, with a sample ballot. So, by the way, if you're in Jefferson Parish and not in my district, come check out my district. It's great. But if you're going to stay where you are, you'll get that ballot as well. It has recommendations and endorsements for Republican RPEC members across the parish. So that's coming to you from GNO RPEC.
Well, let me say this. I recommend you completely and certainly would encourage the voters in that district to cast one of their votes for you. I think you'd be a great addition, Bobbie. I wish you the best of luck. I'm so glad you're running. and getting involved in this, because you're the type of person we need involved in the Republican Party. And Bobbie Ragsdale III, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, and thanks for taking time to be with us here on the Ringside program on WGSO, 990 AM, WGSO.com. And Bobbie, one of 9 candidates running in District 4 for the Republican Parish Executive Committee, and that's mostly the Kenner area there. And yeah, a lot of good people on that list, and like them all. But Bobbie is unique, and his credentials are outstanding, and really a type of person I think we need for that type of leadership position in the Republican Party. We need some new faces in the Republican Party. We need to go in a new direction, big time.